Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. I was once in you guys' shoes, sitting in these meetings. Um, so it's a really big full circle moment. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Very well.
Okay. Like Danielle said, I was one of her mentees. So I started out where you guys kind of started out. I think in like my sophomore year, I joined the BPAE program. And Yeah, that's a big reason why I'm at NASA today. Through the program, I was able to get a mentor who works at NASA, and also I was able to get two internships at NASA here at Marshall Space and Flight Center, so the NASA center that's here in Huntsville, Alabama. And those internships really influenced me to choose this as a career path. So right now at NASA, I work in the propulsions department, and my specific department is ER64, and we work with propulsion research and development work. So I work with experimental new developing propellants for small CubeSat, small satellite spacecrafts, and also I do a lot of research and development work for cryogenic fluid management systems. So I get to test and yeah, so I get to do a lot of testing with small spacecraft propulsion systems, so small thrusters and their propulsion systems and different components that help keep things in space cold. So that's with cryogenic fluid management. So that's what I do at work, and it's really fun because I get to work in the lab. So that's my favorite part. I always really liked hands-on work. Once I started senior design, I really realized I like the hands-on work part of it and doing testing and also just doing research with Dr. Moore because I did research with Dr. Moore, but with robotics. So I really like putting things together and testing things out. So it's my favorite thing to do. And hold on, I wrote some notes. So that's what I currently do. And I talked about my path to NASA. So one of the things Danielle asked me to talk about is things that I wish I would have known before I got my job. So this is a really big thing that I like to talk about, especially because I have a mentee. I don't know if she's there. Her name is Aaliyah, and that's my mentee. That's my favorite person in the world. Mentoring is really big to me. And I think that's really what helped me get to where I am is having mentors, both the mentors that I gained through my internships, which I still talk to all of them. I got a project mentor and I developed close relationships to them too. I also have a mentor, which is my supervisor that I had as a mentor throughout college. Uh, just talking about professional goals and career goals and just college life and how to get through being an engineering major. And then also just having mentor like Dr. Moore and other professors that I got close with that I would talk to and just ask for advice, and having Danielle as my mentor. So I had a lot of mentors. So one thing that I realized kind of later on in my college life, and what I wish I would have jumped on in the beginning of my engineering college classes, is how having a mentor. Having a mentor is so important because they can really they can really help you understand that what you're not alone in what you're going through. They can help you, encourage you through your classes, and also give you another perspective of what it's like to be an engineer or whatever your major is. So that really helped. That really helped me a lot to see that having a mentor, having that support system, it really helped me keep going and keep pushing myself. And there's another thing that I want to say. Another important thing that I wish I would have known before I got my job is that you don't have to know everything, and that classes are important. They're really important. It's good to understand the theory, but that grade doesn't mean that you're not smart or that you don't know what's going on. Um, there's a lot of people who have been successful engineers who didn't pass all their classes the first time, who didn't understand every single equation or have every single fact memorized. Um, and they still made it. They're still successful. And in your job, when you start your job, wherever your job may be, they're going to help you and guide you um, through those first like 2-3 years until you're ready to make, those big engineering design decisions on your own. So you don't have to know everything starting out, and you don't have to beat yourself up if you made a C in a class that you were like, oh, I need to make all A's and B's. Sometimes you're gonna make C's because it's not, your college classes aren't just about you. In a perfect world, you would make A's and B's, but life happens. So that's why sometimes we're not making the grades that we want to make, and we're not understanding things the way that we feel like we should because of life. So I would say, like, if I could go back and talk to myself, I would tell myself, hey, you didn't do great those couple semesters, but that doesn't mean that you don't deserve to be here, and that doesn't mean that you're going to be a bad engineer. Life just happened, and sometimes that happens, and you just got to get back up and keep trying and keep going and understand in yourself what you know and what you don't know and how to teach yourself and fill in those gaps. So that's a really big thing, because I know it's hard. It's hard being in college. It's even harder being an engineering major. It's even hard being an engineering major in of a of a small community, like of a small demographic. So a lot of us that are, minority students, like a lot of our parents might not have went to college. A lot of our friends might not go into college. We might be one out of a few. So that can be hard because you look around and there's not a lot of people that look like you, and you get discouraged. And you get discouraged really easily, but you have to know that if this is really what you want and you really believe in yourself, that you can do it. So don't let the little small bumps in the road discourage you from keep going and following something that you're really passionate about. Because I went through probably like a year or a year and a half where I just was not doing really good in my classes. I wasn't focused. There was so much things going on in my life that I was like, I'm not meant for this. This system isn't built for me. These classes aren't made for me to succeed. And I'm just not the type of student that's meant to be in engineering. But I realized, especially once I got my job, that that's not the case. Like, I do really good at my job, and a lot of my job has to do with thermal fluids and heat transfer. And these are classes that first time I took them, I failed, or I didn't do that great, or I didn't fully grasp the concepts. But now I do so great in my job that you wouldn't even know that. I've helped write a paper so far that's going to be getting published this year, in cryogenic fluid management topics, where I ran some testing with different orifices. And I've presented a project I presented a thermal model to Lockheed Martin, and I actually did a good job. And I answered all their questions on topics that I did so bad on in college. But in the couple months that I've been here, because I started my job here in May, right after I graduated, I've learned, like I've relearned, retaught myself because I'm in like a better space. And I was like, oh, it was never that I couldn't do it or that I wasn't smart. I just need a little more help. I just need to take a little more time. And through my job, which they help me, teach me everything I need to know, I'm succeeding in those concepts that I thought that I would never understand. So that's a big thing. Don't count yourself out. Understand that the classes are just classes. It's important to know those topics, but also just understand like grades are grades, and it doesn't dictate like your intelligence. Unless with yourself, that you really just don't get it. Because sometimes that's the case, but you gotta sit with yourself, be like, do I really just don't get this, or do I just have too much stuff going on to understand that moment? So that's a big thing. And let me think. So there's another really big tip: keep all your textbooks. I use all of them and write in them. Write in textbooks, keep all the textbooks. That's just a tip out there because everybody I work with, they keep all of their textbooks. They have notes in them. So whenever they go back and have to refresh on something in their job, they just have it right there in the book. That's a good tip. We got and how you currently navigate industry space. And then another really big thing along with mentoring that I would say is that I wish I would have got into earlier is networking. Networking is really, really important for getting a job, for getting opportunities, and for getting internships. Through my mentoring experience, I was able to network with the communities that my mentors had. There was a lot of people that Danielle introduced me to that I would message on LinkedIn to ask them about jobs and different experiences. Dr. Moore even introduced me to some people that I had conversations with about having like, finding a job in robotics or something. And then even my mentor, my NASA mentor, who's now my supervisor, just networking with him and other people that he knows showed them that, hey, she would be a great employee for NASA. So that really helped me too, just putting myself out there and networking. Also in senior design, because NASA wasn't the only, it wasn't the only job offer that I got. I got four. I got four job offers. So one with NASA, one with Florida Power and Light, one with General Dynamics Electric Boat, and then one with the Civilian Air Force. So my Florida Power and Light job offer I got through senior design. They saw how good I was at leading my senior design team, scheduling meetings and interacting with them, and just leading us through the whole senior design process that they offered me a job. It was a really good offer too. It just wasn't where my heart lied. But that just talking to them and even outside of our senior design meetings, talking to them and just networking and showing them my skills really made them want to hire me too. And also with the General Dynamics Electric Boat job offer, that was just networking at the Career Center. Well, not the Career Center, the Career Fair, the big ones that they have. I was talking to the people at the booth there, and it was someone that I knew that was in my class, and they put in a really good word for me too. But also, I ended up not taking that job offer because it wasn't where my heart lied, and it didn't fit um my lifestyle, if that's the right way. Because I'm I'm a mom, so like through college, I had my son. So my biggest worry was when I graduated, I'm looking for a job. It's like, okay, it's just going to be me. So I need to have a job that's going to be, you know, understand that aspect of my life and work with me on that. And that's one thing that even though NASA wasn't paying as much as some of these other places, I knew that I would be able to, in any emergency, be able to get my son and be able to, still be a mom, but still be able to work and be challenged and not miss out on opportunities because I wasn't always there. So that's a big thing that you have to consider when you're looking for jobs is, yeah, the pay is great. Always want to make sure you're being compensated fairly. But also, does it fit your interests? Does it fit your lifestyle? Um, the location's really important too. Those are all really important factors that when I first was looking for jobs, I was like, I'm gonna just take the job, the highest bidder, whoever's gonna pay me the most. But then I had to sit down and think like if I move all the way across the country with me and just a young child and some engineering places you'll work 80 hours a week and you'll be pushed to the limit. And some people do really good with that. And I don't mind that, but just understand my lifestyle, understand, oh, I have to be mom too. I had to really think about that and turn down a lot of offers because, hey, I have to understand I can't work an 80-hour week. I have to be home at certain times. I need a work from home flexible option. So those are all things that as you guys are getting closer to apply for jobs or accepting jobs and talking to these jobs, because a lot of things can be negotiated when you're getting a job with like what you need. You tell them like, hey, this is what I need to be successful with you. Now, don't be super picky. Don't say you need like 3 months of vacation time. That's really unreasonable. But just being upfront with certain things, because you have to have your non-negotiables. You can't just go into these meetings, go into these interviews and say, I'll accept anything. I mean, sometimes you have to, but you do have the option to be picky about certain things or to say what you need. So that's a really big thing that I didn't realize at first. And that kind of got me into some situations where it's like, oh, now I really think about it. Like, I physically cannot work mandatory overtime, because one of the jobs were like you have to work mandatory overtime during power outages with Florida Power and Light, and it's a great company, but I was like, I physically cannot do that. So I had to turn away that job opportunity. So, go through all the list of things. Mentoring, really important. That's really going to help you out, give you that support system, because you need a support system in a community to be successful in anything. Number two, dang, I should have wrote all the things I just said down. But number two, networking. Networking is really important. Make sure you're putting yourself out there. Go to these career fairs. Talk to people on LinkedIn. I talked to so many people on LinkedIn and asked them for advice, asked them for information about the companies that they worked at. And that really helped me too, to decide where I wanted to work. Networking is a really good thing. I network even now, even just going in the cafeteria at my job, because NASA has a cafeteria. I just talk to random people, ask them what they do. It's scary. It's really scary. It can be really awkward, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. And you really develop some good friendships and just professional relationships with people that you might talk to forever. Like you might need a different job one day and you remember, hey, I met Sally at the coffee shop and she works at Lockheed Martin or Boeing and I would love to work there. And you could call her and she might connect you with her boss or something. So networking is really important. And then also just don't let how other people perform and dictate how you feel about yourself. And don't let yourself get too stressed out about your class grades. It's important to do well and to make good grades, but in the event that something does happen and life happens and you get that C, you get that D, if you really want to be an engineer and this is the major for you, you don't stop at nothing. Okay, retake that class, do it again. There's lots of other options too to get classes removed if you went through a hard time in college. There's so many things you can do if you really went through a bad time and you failed a class or you didn't perform well in a class. There's so many people in the College of Engineering that can help you out, if that's what you really want to do. But you have to fight for what you want. If it's what you want, you have to fight for it, and you can't give up. So you don't let what other people say or let that one class, that one test get you down if you know that's what you really want to do. And that's it. I think that was it. Oh, and keep those textbooks. Keep those textbooks. Hey, Leon! Keep those textbooks and write notes in those textbooks because you're going to use them, your engineering textbooks. I bought all my textbooks used from Amazon. All my textbooks $30, unless it's like a really new one. But Amazon, buy them used, buy the crappiest textbook you can get used, write in it, keep it forever. I have all of them in my office, even like my robotics textbooks and mechatronics, because one day I might get there. Oh, and that's another thing. Keep your options open, because at first I was like, I want to work in robotics. I want to be a robotics engineer. I want to work in mechatronics or controls. I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. But then when the offers came in and none of them had anything to do with that, I was like, well, do I sit here and wait for that golden ticket, or do I take what I can get? And so sometimes you gotta be flexible with that. Robotics is like a very like niche small area. So there are companies that, you know, have that work in the robotics field that you can be engineer there. But not everybody gets into those. Um, and you have to kind of start thinking about that beforehand. And I wasn't exactly, I was like, hey, I got the degree. I'm gonna apply everywhere. Somebody's gonna hire me. I applied a lot of places and I got those 4 offers. Um, so sometimes you gotta be a little bit flexible and weigh your pros and cons. So like for me, I was like, I need a job right now. So okay, I need to pick through who want me. And I was like, oh, NASA's in my weak point. I don't know if I don't know if I'm gonna do good there. But it was also it's a good environment. They pour a lot into you. So I was like, they're gonna be flexible. So I was like, let me take a chance on NASA. And yeah, so sometimes what you initially want might not be what you get. Like as far as like the field you want to go into, but you can get there. You can still get there. Um, Me picking NASA didn't put me in a corner hole where I can only work with fluids and heat transfer. No, NASA's a big company, so I can network and meet people that might work at JPL or might work on a more mechatronics like project or branch or department. And the way NASA works, all I have to do is make sure like my branch chief is okay with it, their branch chief is okay with it, and as long as there's funding for it, you can switch departments. And I've met a lot of people that they'll switch departments or they'll do short-term details at different NASA centers or something like that. And that's a big reason why I picked this job too, because I was like, okay, this exact job may not be in the field that I like or that I'm strong in, but it's a good environment. I know I can grow there. I know that they're going to pour into me because I can go to classes. They'll pay for my master's degree. There's so much I can learn here. So even though it's not exactly what I want outright, I know I can get to where I want. And with all those other jobs, I was like, no, I'm going to be stuck there. I'm going to either be overworked or I'm going to be stuck there. So that was a big thing that I had to navigate through. Is like, what do I really want? What's really going to work for me? And what do I have to be flexible on? You're going to have to be flexible on some things. You can be needed, like I said, you can't be picky about certain things. Can't be too picky though. So you gotta pick your pickiness. Um, but with a lot of jobs that aren't government based, you know, you can negotiate your salary. And I'm gonna tell you guys this because you know we're all cool if you guys are in the BPAE program. I negotiate my salary to get NASA, and that's not normally done. That's not normally done. That's not normally accepted. Normally they turn down any negotiation letters. But I had all these other offers, and I was like, hey, you know, I know I can't ask you guys for like $100,000 salary, but if you could bump me up a little bit based on all these other offers and all these other skills and based on how I've done my internships and based on these 5 people I know that work in NASA that say I'm amazing, that would be great. So I'm turning down all this other money, you know, if you really want me that bad. And so it actually went through. And so, you know, you can't be picky about certain things. You just gotta, like I had to be careful about my pickiness. I can't ask them for too much money. It's the government. But I could say, hey, you know, I'm worth a little bit more. You know, just bump me up a little grade level, a little step. So, you know, and you can do that with private companies too. Just look up what the average pay is or the average salary, given your degree, given your experience. And a lot of you guys are doing research, internships, and all that stuff. You can put that in a negotiation letter and say, hey, you're offering me $75,000 a year. I feel like, hey, I deserve $80,000 a year because I have all these experiences. I have this leadership experience from senior design. I've had research experience. I have internship experience, and I have these couple people that can back up all of these experience that I say I have, and that will um, give me a good recommendation, and that's why I feel as though I deserve it. So that's always a thing. You can always negotiate your salary, especially for private companies, based on your skills and your experience, your professional experience. So don't ever like doubt yourself on that. Don't ever discredit that. Even if it's a small project, make it sound great, because you're putting your time and effort into it. And even if it's a product that you feel like, oh, it's not as great as like this other group's or this other senior design group's project, it's still something that you're putting time and effort into. You're still designing it. You're still doing all the physics behind it. You're still practicing leadership, having leadership experience, because you're leading some meetings with your team. You're working with other people. So that's showing that, hey, I have some professional experience. So I feel like I should be compensated a little bit more for that. That's all how you phrase it and how you how you talk about it. And yeah. So I'm just looking at my list of things I need to talk about. So I think that's all that I have off of my brain. So does anybody have any questions, or Danielle, is there anything else you want me to talk about? Oh, thank you. Thank you guys. That's my dog.
What is the best way you think to stay in contact with those?
Oh, I can't hear.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you when you're right there.
Okay. So I guess one question that I always get is how do you keep in contact with those connections that you make as you're going through college? What do you think is the best way to stay in contact with your network?
So the best way to stay in contact, I would say, have those people on your LinkedIn. Um, that's a really good way. And also, I try to get everybody's phone number and give them a good email address. So have an email address outside of your FSU, FAMU, outside of your college email. Have an email address that you use for like applying for jobs or for professional reasons. Not the email that you use for your Amazon shopping, because that's going to be filled with ads and advertisements and junk email. So when I started applying for jobs, I created an email solely for applying for jobs. So it's connected to my LinkedIn, it's outside of my college email. And so any professional person I have in contact with, I'll give them that email if it's something that I would like to, have outside of NASA. So if it's something that I'm doing for my job or I'm connecting with people through a job event, I'm going to give them my NASA email. But as far as like the connections that I've made through college, I've tried to give them my the email that I have just for professional relationships. So the email I was using for my job. Yeah. What'd you say?
Wondering how often should you stay in contact with contact?
I can't hear you.
So how often do you contact the people at school? Like when you're in school, how often would you reach out to them to say, "Oh, hey, I'm still here. I'm still interested, and I want to know more." How often would you do that?
Okay, so while I was in college, with my mentors, I would meet with them regularly. So with my NASA mentor that I had for a couple years as my supervisor now, I would meet with him once a month. I still meet with him once a month. And then some of my less formal professional relationships, I would just kind of check in with them at least like once a month. But with this, you have to understand, don't be a person that just bugs them for jobs. So you have to kind of create a conversation. So you can't just meet someone at a career fair and they tell you about a job and then you hit them up every week. Is that job open yet? Can I get that job? I feel like I'm great for that job. This is job I want. You gotta kind of create a dialogue with them, like kind of just create a conversation. You know, don't just be, you can be direct, but don't be super direct because people, I know me personally, I'm not the type of person, I don't want to feel like you're just trying to use me and suck all the opportunities. Like you got to kind of talk to that person because sometimes the people that you're talking to at career fairs, they can help you get a job, right? They can put, pass on the word to their supervisor or anything, but they're not the exact person making those decisions. So you don't want to just bombard them and become like this kind of like annoy them, but kind of find a way to make it into a sandwich. So I have like a sandwich way that I do it. So I ask, hi, how you doing? Like you have like an introduction and then you say the thing that you want and then you talk about something else. You gotta sandwich it in there. But I wouldn't talk to them like I would do like a once a month thing and try to create like a professional relationship with them, not just asking them for things, but as far as like talk about the opportunity that you want, but also ask them about where they're at in the company. How did they get there? And talk about like advice and just things of like personal things about yourself that kind of relate to the opportunity. So I would do it, like monthly basis, maybe bi-weekly. If you want them to be a mentor, someone that you want to continually talk to, like to have a professional friendship, because those exist. They don't have to be your best friend that you go out to the club with, but they could be your friend that you just talk to about, professional opportunities, about experiences, about growing in life. Because I've realized as I'm an adult now and as I'm out of college, I need those kind of people in my circle. So I don't just need them for a job opportunity. Most of the people that I network with, I don't need nothing from them right now. I got a job already. But in the future, I was like, hey, that might be a person like I might need. So let me build this professional relationship with them. Let me talk about things that we're both interested in professionally, technically, and stuff, and just kind of build that gateway to when I do need them or when there is opportunity on the table, they think of me. Yeah, you gotta come up and talk really close to the screen.
Personally, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, so you had two.
No, I can't hear you right now. Like you got
Where is this mic? Can you hear me now?
a little bit. When Danielle, she's like right in front of the screen and then she talks to it.
Talk to the frame.
No,
Can
you got like, okay, right there, right there.
you hear me?
Yeah.
This is a lot. Okay, so I had a question. If you have multiple job offers, how do you navigate the relationship between those two jobs?
Wait, can you say it again? It muffled at the end. It got muffled at the end.
Wait, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. If you have multiple job opportunities, so for example, like you said, you had, say, the Florida Light, and then you had NASA. How do you navigate those two relationships without rubbing anybody wrong?
Um, so this was kind of difficult for me because I didn't know the best way to go about it because I had with Florida Power and Light, they gave me an offer letter after kind of accepting their initial like, hey, I do want to work there. Then they gave me an offer letter. I hadn't signed it yet, but they had began to send me paperwork and their merch and all that stuff, and very confident like, oh, Ebony's gonna come work for us. Um, in the same time, I was considering denying the initial offer that I got from NASA, but then I didn't I didn't know that I could negotiate what they had first offered me. So at the last minute, when I did talk to a representative from NASA, and they told me, "Hey, you can negotiate it, but it's probably going to get denied. Like we don't do that here." But I did it anyway. My mom really pushed me to do it, so I did it anyway. And when they accepted my negotiation offer, I had to talk to Florida and Power Light, like, hey, I know that you guys were really confident in me coming, but I'm I'm not going to take the offer. I'm going to go somewhere else. So at first I was really nervous, but I was honest with them. I just told them exactly like why I was uneasy about the offer, and that if I hadn't heard back from NASA, I would have went with them. But I was just honest with them. I told them about like my my personal issues that would make it hard for me to work there, and they were very understanding and very nice about it. I think when you're looking back, I would have been honest up more upfront, because they never asked me was I considering other job offers. So I just thought, okay, I don't have to say it. So I think it's better to be honest upfront, be like, hi, like if someone offers you stuff, be like, hey, I have other offers that I'm waiting on and I need more time to consider, and just letting them know upfront, because it's not, at the end of the day, the people you're talking to in the company, most of the time it's not like they have beef with each other. It's not like anyone's going to take it personal, because this is your life and you're making a life changing decision. And at the end of the day, most of those people that are trying to hire you, they want you to succeed. They want you to go where you fit. And if you feel like you don't fit with them, they wouldn't want you to be there, because then they don't want a bad fit. And you know more than they do if you're going to fit into that company. So I think it's the best to just be honest, not give too much details, but let those companies know, like, hi, I'm considering other offers and other companies, and to give them a time frame, or ask for more time if you need more time before making a final decision. I think the way that I did it, it ended up being okay, because the people at Florida Power Light were, really nice, really understanding, especially given like the circumstances, because I didn't know about the mandatory overtime until kind of later into the offer process, and that's what started to make me feel uneasy. And I was like, well, let me try this with NASA. Let me try to negotiate the salary with NASA and see if it'll work. So once I explained most of that with them, and I was just upfront and honest, they were like really understands. It's like, we just want you to go where you feel like you belong, and we wish you well. So I think it's just best to be honest in the process. Because I kind of felt bad after everything. I felt bad that I kind of like they thought I was going to be working there and I wasn't. So I think it's just better to be honest. If you're applying to competing companies, maybe not exactly tell them the other company's name, because you don't have to disclose that. But you can let them know, like, I'm considering other offers, and that's also another negotiation tool. For if they really really want you at the company, they might say, well, what do we need for you to stop considering those other people? So I think it's just better to be upfront and honest. You don't have to give all the details. But it's also good before you start this process, and this is what I didn't do right away, is list out what's most important to you. So when you're considering all these offers, you're not leading people on, or making the process longer, or saying yes to something that you might not really want to do. Like, really know what you need from a job, where you're willing to go, and what you really want out of it before starting everything and talking to people and negotiating things, because it'll make things a lot smoother.
Hey, Ebony, like that. Hey, I sent my question to you, your phone, if
Oh,
you have it right there.
okay. Okay, let me. Yeah, she's been texting me, guys. I'm like, oh, I can't look at this. Um, how do you make such great? Okay, Aaliyah asked me, how did you make such a great impression at NASA? What skills did you portray the best? Work ethics, data skills, programming, hands-on, etc. Okay, so how I make a great impression at NASA is because I'm great, guys, because I'm amazing. Like, ask anybody at the College of Engineering, they're gonna be like, Ebony was amazing. But no, for real, I was just myself, and from day one, I was just eager to learn. And I was very upfront. Even in my interview, I told them, I was like, hey, these were not my strongest classes in college. But these are the things that I am good at. I'm good at working in a team. I'm good at working in a lab. I'm good at being organized, and I'm ready to learn. Like as soon as I come somewhere, I want to soak up all the information I can and get my hands on as much stuff as I can to learn. So that's what I said in my interview. And on the day that I started, that's what I was doing. I asked so many questions, guys. Even really dumb questions, like how do you spell simple words? But asking all these questions and just being really eager to learn, I think made a really good impression on everybody I work with. Because most of the people I work with in my branch, they have PhDs or they've been working there 20 plus years. I'm the youngest person in my branch that does not, and I'm the only person that doesn't, most, I think there's one other guy, he only has a bachelor's degree, but he's been working there for like 30, 40 years. He's about to retire soon. So as far as like people 40 and under, I'm the only person that does not have a master's degree. And the only person that doesn't have direct experience in what we're doing. So it's like I have those beginner thermal fluids and heat transfer classes, but most of the people that I work with, they have lab experience or research experience in these topics, and I don't. But I'm very upfront in the stuff that I don't know. I ask questions about what I don't know. I study, I try to learn. And I'm always offering to help and to put my input into something, even if it's not always correct. I think everyone that I work with just appreciates my initiative and determination to to contribute and to be a part of the branch and be a part of the team and to just learn and have a respect for what we're doing and what we're researching. And with lab work, I've realized people appreciate when you ask more questions, even if it's the same repetitive question, than going off and trying to do something that you're not confident in and then hurting yourself or damaging the equipment that we're testing. So I think that makes a really great impression on everyone because I don't want to break anything. So I think the skills I portray the best are my people skills. And I think when you're working in a technical area, everyone's smart. Everyone knows basic physics, what they're supposed to know in engineering. But there's a lot of people that don't have good people skills, that don't have good communication skills. I work with some of those people, and they're great people. They just don't know how to talk to other people. And I think one of my strong points is I'm social, even though in college I was super shy. Like I was a super shy person. I do not like to talk to people, but that money will motivate you to talk to people. So I'm super social. I'm really good at communicating what I don't know. And that's a really big thing. To tell someone what you don't know so they can tell you what you need to know is super important. So I think those are the skills that I portray the best, just my people and communication skills. And Aaliyah texted me another question. She was like, before I started my internship, did I do background research on my project? No. With NASA internships, you don't know what your project is going to be most of the time. You get the internship and either they already have a project that they're working on. They're like, oh, we need an intern to do it. or they kind of create a project for you like a little bit before you get there. But when you're applying for NASA internships, you're just applying for an internship, a general internship, and then they place you where they place you. And through the BPAE program, because they had connects, contacts at Marshall Space and Flight Center, through the internships that I and some other students got, they kind of were able to know some of what their project was before coming. I think some students did, but I didn't know. But it wasn't such a bad thing not knowing beforehand, because when you're at work, you don't really know the project that you're gonna get all the time. So I didn't really have time to do research. I did a lot of research for both my internship projects once I started. So it's like the first day I take time to, okay, what is it that you want me to do? Assess the situation, understand, okay, what do I know about this already and what don't I know? And then I take some time to look into that. And I take contract hour time, not personal time. That's the best thing about working. Everything you do it on the clock. And after the clock is done, you go home, turn the computer off. Don't look up anything. I only do work when I'm supposed to be paid to do it. And it gives me a lot. It helps me better because I can focus. I think in college we have to mix in our classes with our personal time, with our, work schedule when we're working. So everything is like muddied together. But when you're working, you have that 8 hours or however many hours you work a day, and that is only for work. So that way when you get home, you can focus on stuff at home. And that's been like such a big stress reliever to me, because I had such a hard time in college, like classes, work, being a mom, family stuff. And it's like it would all happen at the same time. There's no, except for the actual class time that I had, outside of those hours, it's like I have to find time for homework, then mom stuff, then work stuff. So it would always all be mixed together. And it was really stressful. But since having my job, I have like a clear cutout time for work and for looking up work stuff. Because when you need to study things or brush up on topics, that's a part of work. You don't do that at home. And that's one thing that I really like about NASA, because I can sit there and say, hey, I don't remember this stuff from college, or I don't know this topic. I need to do some research and brush up on it a little bit. I need to take a day, a half a day to look into that. And they're like, okay, like the being able to communicate, I don't know this and I need to look this up, is like the greatest thing ever, because in college you can't. They're like, I gave you a week already to learn this. You got the test today. There's no pushing back because you don't understand it. There's no pushing back this project because I didn't go over it really clearly in class. So it's a little that's a really big thing change. And yeah. So those are all the questions that Leah texted me. Does anybody else have any questions?
So we don't have any more questions, but we appreciate you coming and talking with us. It was very great to see you, and we love that you're doing well. So thank you.
Oh, thank you guys. It was so great to talk to you guys. I don't know why I'm clapping, but it's so great to talk to all of you guys, and I wish you well in the rest of your college experience. And if you guys have any summer opportunities, I hope that goes really well too. And if anyone ends up getting an internship at Marshall, holla at your girl, because I'm out here. But yeah, thank you guys for the opportunity to just speak to all of you. And I hope it was helpful.
Thank you. Would you like this recording?
Yeah, you can see me recording. Yeah.
Thank you so much, girl.
Yeah. And then if you guys need me again, like I love doing this stuff, mentoring. Mentoring is my favorite thing. I love being a mentor. I love to talk and help inspire people. It's really close to my heart.
So would you like me to share the email you gave me with them?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can share my email with everyone if you guys have any questions, or if you just need some encouraging words, or you need to cry. that's all. Ebony can do it all. And also, if you are interested in working in access, also help with that. So, all right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.